Picture this: 3 library staff members trapped inside the South Charleston Public Library. Aaron, Toby, and Josh, each with divergent tastes, tasked with watching each other's films. Can they survive with their sanity intact? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Real Opposites. I'm Aaron,
I'm Josh.
I'm Toby.
and we are back to discuss Josh's pick from last time, Something Wild from 1986. And Josh, tell us a little bit why.
Yeah, so Something Wild is a movie I remember watching a good bit when I was young, and I didn't see it for a long time. For those that don't know, it's directed by Jonathan Demme. This was his maybe third or fourth film. He made Married to the Mob as well. I don't know if either of you have seen that with Michelle
haven't.
Pfeiffer. That's a very good movie.
I've heard of it, but
So he, he started off making comedies like this and Married to the Mob, and would of course later go on to direct Silence of the Lambs
yeah.
and Philadelphia and Beloved, like more definitely heavy movies. But the thing that's always stuck with me about his movies in particular, there's always a strong humanitarian kind of point of view. And he always thinks through the characters before they've gotten to a new, like each scene or each. I feel like when you first meet Jeff Daniels or Melanie Griffith, like you feel like that they're fully formed characters. I buy into who they are.
Right.
It doesn't feel like we're getting to know them, but they feel authentic. And I feel like that holds throughout the whole movie. And the reason I generally am not big into comedies is they generally feel very contrived. And this one, like, it feels spontaneous, and you don't know where it's going, and you don't know how it's gonna end.
Right.
It ends in a more conventional way, but I think by the time you get to the end, they've earned it. And it is like there's shocking moments that you don't expect, and all the developments that you learn about each character make sense. Like you understand why Lulu would be with Ray Liotta,
Right.
why she is the way she is, and beyond just being like really funny and charming, like I think it's a really good character study of these two characters who just happen to find each other. And I think throughout his entire career, all that through line is there. Like even in Silence of the Lambs, like you can tell like a gentle soul made this movie.
Right.
Because he does care about Clarice and even Hannibal and Buffalo Bill. Like nobody's a monster, and no like it's fully like something made them that way.
Right.
And I don't know. That's so anyway. So I hadn't seen it in years, and then several years ago I watched it again. Criterion put out a new Blu-ray, and I just fell in love with the movie again. I hadn't seen it in forever, and I always remember the poster. The poster's kind of iconic. I always remember seeing the video in the stores all the time. But yeah, so I don't know. I threw it in there. I was like, well, if I'm going to pick a comedy,
Right.
it's going to be. There's only a couple choices, so I picked this one because I figured you guys hadn't seen it.
Nope.
So what did y'all think?
Can I go? Because I feel like I'm gonna maybe be the dissenting
you're the
voice
one
here,
talking.
so I'll talk. I agree with all of that, and I still would never watch it again. It's beautifully made. It's competently shot. It you feel like these are real characters and they're real people, and I hate them. And I don't know how else to feel about it beyond that.
Okay.
I found Lulu unlikable and crazy, and I understand the reasons why she was that way, but I also think that going through things in your past doesn't give you carte blanche to be a terrible person. And to treat people badly even if they are allowing you to, where the things that she does to Jeff Daniels' character, I think are unforgivable, and that he should get as far away from her as possible. Because I do think the Ray Liotta character is probably right. That girl's never going to be satisfied with like a normal life, because that's just not who she is or how she comes across. I actually did like the Charles Driggs character, but I also thought he was stupid, and not like I don't mean to be like that. It just I get that you're supposed to, and I do have empathy for like why they make the choices that they do, but I did not find them. They're not people I want to be friends with. I don't want to sit down with them and have lunch. I want them very far away from me at all times. Like,
All right.
That's but like the movie is a good movie. It's very well made. I just was like, I don't.
Just not for you.
It's not for me, man. Like I like Lulu is the worst version of like the manic pixie dream girl I've ever seen. Like she does come in and she does change up his life and she does make him question things, and that's great, I guess. But she also robs a liquor store and like, you know, ties him up to the bed and calls his boss and almost ruins his whole career, and like has very little regard for like how her actions are affecting other people. And I understand the reason that she's like that is that she's kind of had to be. She's in that post abusive relationship survival mode where you can only like worry about taking care of yourself because that's the only way that you were ever going to get taken care of. And I understand why she's there, but yeah, she bothered me. Lulu bothered me. I don't want anything to do with Lulu. Or Audrey or whatever her name is. Ray Liotta's character I thought was super evil, but like a very well done character. This is it. I agree with everything you said. I totally see why it's like you would pick it. I see why it's a good movie. Nope.
Not
like
for you.
not for me.
Okay.
I think that
Surprised me.
Yeah, I would like not for me.
So-
It's great. No.
so I also agree that I love the character work. I think the characters are very well done. It is a well shot movie, and think I agree with everything that you said. I see where Toby's coming from.
Yeah.
I will say for me, I think it was fine. But I think some of it, and this I think it goes along with what you're saying is, and just shows that different movies can mean different things to different people because of things that the watcher has been through, or how we perceive life. Even though we know how the movie's doing it, there's still, like, for me, the first half, she could have cut Driggs' arm like 50 times and I could have cared less, because in the beginning he claims he's married and running off. So
I mean,
to
that's
me,
kind of they're both lying to each other.
So to me, he was cheating, and I could care less what
I think
happened
that's
to him.
Right, yeah, I'm in the same boat.
So-
Like, I don't like him either, but I thought, like, by the end, he was a little more understandable.
But that's what I say.
Like, yeah.
That was for the first half, and I think that's my view on that, because I just hate cheating so much. So I didn't like the movie for the first half. The second half, I really enjoyed, because once I found out he was like
Innocent, effectively.
innocent and out there doing things, then honestly I fell in love with both characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually liked her and him, and I enjoyed that they ended up together. Like, I think they're going to live this crazy fun life. I really do. I mean, I think in a crazy way they
a wild
are
way.
perfect. Yeah,
For each other.
It's like something wild,
It's kind of wild.
They're
how that
made
worked
for
out.
each other.
Yeah, I mean,
They counterbalance each other a little bit.
I like the arc that both of them have. Is they're lying to themselves and they lie to each other. And throughout the movie, they start facing reality, facing the consequences of their actions and the lies that they are telling themselves, just to try to get through life.
I don't think we got enough of that for me to undo a lot of the
Okay.
the bits.
See, I thought we did. I mean,
So,
I was fine
like-
with it. Once I knew he wasn't cheating, I was good to go.
Well, yeah.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
he's
like-
not
but that's-
cheating, but I still
yeah.
think that she doesn't have a lot of empathy for others, and I understand where that comes from. Being someone who has been in a very physically abusive relationship and coming out of that, and knowing the kind of person I was when I came out of that was not I think I see a little bit of Lulu in that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was not particularly cognizant of how other people feel
Right.
for a while in my life, like a year or two, because I was more about like just trying to find myself again.
Right,
So I
exactly.
totally get what Lulu's going through.
Mhm.
I don't think I got enough to undo some of the bad that
Well,
she has done.
You also have to
Yeah.
think like this takes place over the course of a few days.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so
that is true.
You're not going to undo years of an abusive relationship in like a weekend.
I
Right.
think that is also.
But I mean, I
there's
think
timeline.
I
is
think
trouble.
I think you can see the trajectory though.
Yeah.
And I think Charlie, I guess like you said, like I think they're both good for each other,
Mhm.
and I think they complement each other real well, and that's why I want to hope that it's going to work out between them.
Yeah. I was watching Dexter last night, and there was a line in Dexter that actually made me think of this movie and these characters, because like one of the characters said to the other, "You're like a Valium to me because I'm always going," and the other character was like, "And you're like a Red Bull to me because I'm the opposite."
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I feel like that fits these characters.
Does.
I think it does.
Exactly.
It really does.
And I think that's why they work. And like I said, it was the first half of the movie. I was like, this isn't going to be for me. And that's where I lean on. It's fine. But the second half, I enjoyed it more. And you did start to see that the unveiling of who the person is and what they've went through and how they're already making those changes to be a better person.
I mean, just visually, you can see their progression throughout the
Appearances.
movie. You know, like he goes from the suit and tie, very kind of stuck up,
yeah.
and when they go to her mom's house, she changes her hair. She's in,
Mhm.
like it's visualized really
He gets
well.
those awesome sunglasses.
Yeah, the
with,
awesome-
like, little astronauts on
Yeah,
them.
astronauts on the side. Yeah,
I need those.
I like when he's like changing into his spy outfit though after
Yeah.
like
in the gas station.
In the middle of the gas station,
and
yeah.
Nelson, who's the gas station attendant's name. That was my favorite bit in the whole movie, which was nah, man, you gotta keep those. Those are cool. like
Yeah, no, I like
changes
their
all
little
outfit,
interplay.
like-
It felt improv.
All right,
Yeah,
fix me up,
right.
Nelson. Fix me up.
Um,
Like that one killed me. That was very.
I like the little in that same sequence. There's like a little like after he's got his outfit, his
Mhm.
Virginia's for lovers or whatever shirt
Yeah.
and everything, and there's like a tracking shot, and he's like hiding behind these bushes that are
Yeah.
like 2 feet tall, and he's like 6'2" probably,
Right.
and he's just like, and it's just like he's going and there's tracking, and then the bushes stop, and he's not behind the bushes anymore. He's like, oh, and he goes back. It's just a fun little reveal, and then
Yeah.
that made me laugh out loud a lot.
I also like when I went to turn it on. I was like comedy thriller, and I was like, wait, where's the like? At first, I was like, well, where's the thrill? Like,
Yeah.
but first when she kidnaps him, I'm like, oh, it's that she's a psycho. Like, I don't know, like where this is
at
going.
first I had a problem finding the comedy.
Yeah, and then I was like, "What? Yeah, exactly." Because to me, everything that happens to Drake's, I mean, while you do think he's a cheater and maybe he deserves it,
Yeah.
is not definitely verges on this is not an okay thing to do.
Right.
It's not okay to kidnap someone while drinking liquor in your car, drive them into another state, and then be like, "You're paying for all this, right?"
Yeah.
Like that's not okay. But he goes with it, I guess.
Yeah.
And so,
And I think
like,
I think it's good he did. I think he needed it.
he probably needed a little break from his
Mhm.
normal life. But I do think that like, where was I going with this?
The thriller aspect
Thriller aspect that's
definitely
where we
comes
are.
in when Ray Liotta.
Yeah, Ray Liotta
Oh,
shows
yeah.
up, and you're like, oh, okay, here's the problem,
This-
right?
This is his first.
This is his
feature
first film. Yeah.
And he's very scary.
Oh yeah.
And,
He does it
like,
great.
This movie did
perfect.
have, I think, also for me, had a couple of like triggering moments
Mhm.
that I was like, I'm kind of uncomfortable watching this. So, like I said, totally, I think it's a great movie. For me personally, it hit things that didn't feel quite right or that I
Yeah.
didn't quite like. And so like, but he's very scary.
Yeah, he's
As
great.
the abusive ex, and her dealing with him is so believable because she knows exactly how violent he is. She knows exactly how to like get away, like, you know, to try to get away from him. And so she's just like plays into whatever fantasy he has in his head, and you know tries to save Charles Driggs, and of course he doesn't know what's happening, and it's a very like that whole from the moment he comes in to like there's definitely a huge to the very end there's a huge tonal shift that I think is
and I think that's the part that I enjoyed is once he came in, but I think that's about the time that you also figure out he's not a cheater.
Yeah, that he's divorced and
Yeah, but I mean, it is the tonal shift as well that I think I enjoyed of the second half of the movie. And maybe I'd enjoy the first half now knowing he was lying, but to me, it was one of those things. And this, like I said, it just goes to show that no matter what the movie is or how good it is also how people react to it.
Yeah.
Because that first
line where he
half,
said it was married.
What is it?
I also missed where he said he was married at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And so when it was revealed that he wasn't, I was a little bit confused.
Oh no, I was
think
I
that
was stuck
mattered.
on that.
I'm sure
I was
that-
very
I'm sure
stuck
that
on
really
that.
mattered.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so there was probably a lot of stuff in the beginning that was funny and that I would have thought funny, but
You're just so fixated.
I loved her because I was like, he deserves it all.
Yeah.
He's
Like
just-
everything
gotta
she
happen.
did, I was
Tie him
like,
up. Leave him.
Yeah, do that.
Take his
Leave him there,
clothes.
Take his
He
clothes.
deserves to be ruined. So, like, I just, you know,
So looking through the lens of not hearing the part where he said he was married, and now knowing he's not married.
yeah, I probably would
It
have
was
enjoyed it.
it was a little bit like this is a crazy bitch. Like I don't know how to like
yeah,
get around that.
but I think, and I think that's a neat aspect, and that's what's always fun about talking about the movies with each other is you do see, no matter how a movie is shot and what it's meant to be, it can mean a million different things to a million different people. And you know, certain things can, like you said, you can see that it's shot well. You know that the character development was good, but for you, it just wasn't a good movie.
Yeah,
But
I
mean, me personally, as far as I love character development, these characters were perfect. And I think that is what makes Ray Liotta. Well, one, he just did a really good job, but also the character development of his character is so good, and it makes him scary.
And he's so likable to everyone else, and I think that's the really scary part.
Yeah,
of
and
him,
that's
is
honest.
that-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's honest. That those men who are like that are like that.
Right,
Like, they're to everyone else who doesn't know what lies underneath. They're
Very charming.
the most fun, so charming, like, you know. And so immediately Driggs is taken with him. It's like, this guy seems cool, and like
Right.
doesn't realize that he's putting them in a dangerous situation
Yeah.
because because they've not talked about like her past. And
And that,
stuff.
I mean,
And
that's what I like is that you don't know where it's going.
no,
Oh no, I had no idea
And
where.
then
it was
once
going.
he enters the picture, you're like, what is this now?
yeah.
no.
Because I mean, I
And
think
then the final showdown, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was just so well done.
Because I mean, I think it starts off and it's like, oh, this is going to be a cute little romantic comedy.
Right.
You know, two people meet at a diner. You know, there's a little, you know, but then it just
And then she gets wild, and
it gets wild. Okay, well, this is still a comedy. She's tying him up. She's going to rob him or something.
Yeah.
He's going to go back and like you had this idea, like, oh, this is probably where this is going to go.
There's gonna
But
be like another love interest. At that point, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be the girl, but
Yeah.
you know.
no, it did. I would say it did great at that. It definitely kept you on your toes.
Subverting expectations.
I would have, I would have never guessed where it went.
Yeah.
That by the beginning of the movie, the whole how it happened by the end, that was nowhere on my radar.
I mean, like I said, I think I can get enough. I know enough movies that I get past like I can say out of my personal feelings of the movie, like this is a good movie, and for some people, this is gonna hit and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
For me, that wasn't that for me, which is
That's fine.
Yeah, like I mean, it was like I said, it was good, but I don't know that I would. I wouldn't want to. I don't think I would want to watch it again. But again, I think some of that has to do with like I do struggle if there's like domestic violence and things
Right.
and stuff. So like sometimes that will just like
Yeah, like the
You know,
cheating part for me.
the cheating
I
part.
mean, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
that will-
saying.
that
It's
will
just
end- like that
it
will make
depends on your-
hard for me to.
it
Yeah.
depends person to person. But yeah, by the time the final showdown happened, like I'm already rooting for those two.
You don't expect anybody to die in the movie.
No,
No,
not at
no.
all. And
It's
I
a
mean,
very real
when he catches up and he
possibility.
just smashes through that glass, you're like, oh,
Turned into Michael Myers. There for a
Yeah.
second.
like this is going. They may both die.
Yeah, they may, like this might go really,
He, like,
really bad.
Throws her in the tub, and
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a lot.
I mean,
and it's so
like,
well
and-
done.
And I mean, that's what Demme was so good at, is that he might work in a genre, but like Silence of the Lambs, a horror movie, or
Right.
Philadelphia is
Yeah.
a more conscious, socially conscious
Mhm.
drama. This is a comedy, but he's still taking it seriously.
Mhm.
Right.
I wish he had made like more, because he made Silence of the Lambs, huge hit, Philadelphia,
Mhm.
huge hit. And then he took some years off and he made Beloved, which I still actually haven't seen,
Mhm.
which is based on the Toni Morrison novel, I believe.
Yeah, the novel's good. I don't know how the
Yeah,
movie
I
is.
think the movie was generally like, yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it didn't like kind of like set the world on fire like
Right.
Silence in Philadelphia. And then I wish he had worked more in genre after that.
Mhm.
He made the remake of The Manchurian Candidate, which is pretty good, with Denzel Washington and Liev Schreiber. But I wish he'd made more like a horror movie
Mhm.
again,
Yeah.
or because I think he just brings just a natural humility.
Right.
to-
Like a realness
He
to the people.
certainly knows what's scary, right? And he's
Yeah.
certainly very good at like blocking out his villains' like motivations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Ray Liotta's character did not particularly care when he thought like that Lulu was just like a fling for this guy
Right.
or whatever. He was like trying to get him to talk about her, like but when he realized that there was something deeper going on,
Mhm.
That's what.
he lost it
Yeah.
because like it was suddenly like a loss of like control over this. Like how could you? She's not. In this guy's mind, she's not a person.
Right.
So
She's
how
property.
dare you see her as a person?
Right.
And like how dare you start to take ownership of like who she of her personhood instead of me? And it's like that so believable and so good there. But like I mean he knows how to make a believable villain
Yeah.
to a point where it's very, very scary.
I mean, the psychology is always, it feels like very thought through in all
Yeah.
these movies.
Yeah, and I think with all the characters, I mean it was, and I think that's what really makes it a decent movie.
We recorded a podcast on Silence of the Lambs, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
Okay.
we did.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
So you-
Yeah, I've definitely seen it now. But I was surprised to see it was Ray Liotta's first movie because he was so good.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, you
that
totally
part.
see like why Scorsese's like, yeah, let's get him for
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like, I mean, it's a few years later, but still, I mean, he won like some various like Boston Critics Society like for best supporting actor. He was
on
nominated.
this one.
Yeah, he was. Like,
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it was like the movie was very well reviewed, and but him in particular was like a big standout. That,
Yeah.
like, who is this guy? Like, he is captivating. Like,
yeah,
he has this thing like certain actors have, where it's just like
Hmm.
you can't take your eyes off of him.
He has such
Yeah.
stunning, like literal, I think
Piercing
his
eyes,
His
yeah.
eyes are so piercing, and
Mhm.
same thing with Anthony Hopkins in
In Silence,
Silence
Yeah.
of the Lambs. He just
Daniel Craig has that too.
I think it's Dana Craig. It's
Yeah.
like he just has like so much emotion in his eyes that
Mhm.
like, and he's so good at using it. Like I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure you could cover the rest of
Yeah,
his face,
yeah.
and you would still get exactly what he's thinking in the scene. And things like, I mean, I'm sure they could use something to do this, but I feel like some actors are able to like do like things like making your eyes go like bloodshot when like you're stressed or emotional, and
Yeah.
like he's able to like that was something I noticed that was like really drawn in on a couple of the scenes with him, especially like in the big fight, is that his eyes are like red, like he's furious, but also like he's crying or like
Yeah.
upset, and so it was just really like very well done. And Lulu was very well acted. I had to go looking, like I knew Melanie Griffith was an actor, and I like immediately recognized like her voice and her face, but I had to go like digging through IMDb to be like, what else is she in? Like,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I was like, what is she
Well,
in?
like, I mean, like growing up, like she was one of the top actresses.
Mhm.
Oh,
Like when I was younger,
Mhm.
yeah.
No,
it was-
Joe immediately pegged her.
I knew
He's
I
like,
knew
"That's
the
Melanie
name
Griffith."
and I knew her
was like,
face, but I
mean,
can't.
and she hasn't done much like of note,
mhm.
like big feature films in
Yeah.
quite a while. But yeah, I mean her like in Body Double especially,
Mhm.
she's like critics tore that movie apart, but they were like Melanie Griffith's amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing actually a very somewhat similar character to this. Like I imagine like if either of you seen Body Double,
I've seen Body
haven't.
Double, I believe.
she's like that's like the version of Lulu,
Mhm.
either pre or post.
Oh, okay.
Like it doesn't work out with Charlie, so she goes and does porn, and that's kind
Oh, okay.
of
Oh, I did know something odd about this movie. For a minute, I had to Google if the movie was a Jamaican film. Just because the title credits, for some reason,
Yeah.
gave me like a very, and the ending credits gave me a
Well,
very like Jamaican vibe in the
yeah,
way.
because it's reggae music.
And on the ending credits, it's a reggae version of like Wild Thing, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What is happening?" Done by Sister Carol East or
Yeah,
whatever is her name. So like, I had to look up this girl and be like, what is like, why is this here? Like that feels very like it does not follow what. What has happened so far? And I was like, was this movie like just made in Jamaica? It's not. I just was like, why?
No,
Why was this the choice?
I just thought it was a wild song, kind of
Yeah, I
like
mean, it's
wild,
just-
like the movie ends up being.
It's just that
Yeah.
the girl walks out of the restaurant and suddenly she's singing for the ending credits, and I
Yeah.
was like, what?
I actually loved
It
that.
was great.
yeah.
I was very confused.
I thought it was just, I don't know, it just felt right for that movie.
It was a bit absurd in that moment, but there is
Yeah.
like an absurdism, like an absurd nod to this
Yeah.
movie. Like a lot of things that happen, I think, again, if they happened in real life, you would be like, this is not like going to be a good
No, I
movie.
mean,
It's
like,
yeah.
there's an absurdness to certain things. And
I'm like the thing, like a movie can do a lot as long as, but if you believe inherently in the characters,
Mhm.
like and you can do a lot as far as the situation goes. Like, yeah, if they really robbed a convenience store, they would probably like the cops are going to end up chasing them. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to end very well, probably.
yeah, the characters are great, super believable. I don't like
Mhm.
them.
It's cool.
I don't know. Sometimes
But I mean,
it's
that
like-
goes to show,
Yeah.
I mean, how good the characters were
that-
because it
yeah.
invoked that
It
in you.
invoked
And
it
that's
in
what
you.
I
If a movie's drawing something out of you like that,
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
that's if there's some element of truth there that you recognize, or I mean, even if it makes you uncomfortable, I think
Right,
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
And,
This is-
and that,
Yeah, and I get
Okay.
that. And I get that. Like,
Okay.
And that's what I was saying earlier about, just with different people. And that is why I said it's fine. The second half I enjoyed more. And it does, I think anytime, as long as the movie, like you said, as long as it's pulling something out of you,
yeah,
then it's doing its job. I mean, a movie that you throw in and nobody, has no feelings.
that's the worst thing in the world
Yeah.
is just mediocrity.
Right.
I'll take a bad movie that tries
Hmm.
Mhm.
over something that's just like flatline,
Right.
right
Exactly.
from the start.
I'll take a good movie I personally don't like over like something that isn't interesting. Like
Yeah,
this
That's
was,
good.
At no
Yeah.
point was I like, I want to turn this off. Like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it is I maybe don't want to watch it again.
Right.
But like at no point I was like, oh, I mean, I didn't do anything else. I didn't get distracted from the movie. So like I said, it was competently made. It was great. I hate Lulu. I think she's a bad person. She needs a lot more character and a lot more development into being not a bad person before she gets involved with someone else. And I think the same thing about Driggs. I think Driggs is not fully himself and is not ready to be with someone else. And while I do think people can fix each other, they can also make each other worse. So
I think
it just kind
Tobey
of depends on how they go.
Wants a job writing Something Wild too.
I mean, they'll make anything. They'll sequelize anything.
I guess.
40th anniversaries next year.
Something
Yep,
wild
there you
too.
go.
Everybody goes to therapy. Like I don't really know how to fix that for them.
Something Wild therapy.
something wild too. You can have fun without robbing a liquor store. Or endangering others with your drunk driving. Like, I don't know, man.
But it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's the problem. We're not these are like adults. These are not teenagers like going through their wild phase.
Yeah, but I think that also
Well, you also maybe have to think that neither one of them got that.
that's what I was going to say. I mean,
Yeah.
these
Well, Lulu certainly did.
that's
Well, I mean, if she's been, if
But not
so
if she's been
if she's been in a relationship with Ray,
Yeah.
and she's felt like trapped and like incarcerated,
she didn't get to do her growing up.
No,
teens.
she didn't get
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
And
because I mean
finding
they got
herself
together real young. I think
Yeah,
they
from
mentioned.
what I understand. Yeah.
And I mean,
Teenage
Charlie seems like the kind of guy who's like, your parents are like, oh, you're going to school for business.
Right.
You're gonna,
You're
you're
doing
going
this.
to, like, there's high expectations.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I think that it makes sense for them both to be at that point in their life where there's like, F it.
Yeah. And I think it shows that, I mean, I think in real life it's the same that, sometimes it happens at different ages. I mean,
Yeah.
and hopefully they find themselves and it ends up being, better for them in the
Right,
end,
yes.
which it was showing that like it was going to be.
It's good to see people grow in that way. Like it's good.
Maybe
to
that's
see-
what I was
it's
getting ready
good
to say.
See people like
It just left me like so quick.
experience others, like experience the parts of their life they got to miss, and I think that
Yeah.
people have
Yeah.
to do that. But I do think, and I'm a firm believer in this. They needed. I think they both needed a little more of a break before they jumped into a new relationship. Because I feel like we're bringing a lot
Maybe
of
should have
baggage,
jumped ahead like
a
a year.
a lot of baggage
Yeah.
from the off.
I felt like it still jumped ahead a good bit.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah, I
not?
mean, I imagine it's been.
I
at
thought
least
it'd been a
couple,
while.
couple weeks maybe.
Oh, okay.
Been
I
more
thought
than
it'd been
that?
longer than that.
Yeah, so
April?
like I read the
I couldn't
I
tell,
read the
but
wiki and it made it seem longer, but like the framing made it seem like they had just got there, and she's sleeping in another bed from him, and they're like just
Yeah.
oh, see,
like-
I thought it'd been like a year or so.
because he's like sleeping on the couch. I think that it's pretty soon thereafter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't imagine it's like months.
No,
I would
Well,
say
I
maybe
know-
like a month at the most.
I know I did. I mean, it did it enough to where I thought it was time for them to be searching for each other. Like
Yeah.
I felt that,
yeah.
and like them ending up together felt right.
Yeah.
It felt like the right time to me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we all see things differently.
And
We're
like,
almost opposites.
it's almost like we're the real opposites. It like.
Josh coming in with the heat.
I feel like just from life experience, like I think Lulu needed a couple years of like figuring out
Yeah.
who she is separate from someone before she jumped into something new, especially if she was in a relationship where she was effectively owned.
Yeah.
And
Well, the movie's got to end though.
yeah,
So.
well, exactly,
No, I know, I'm just
right?
kidding, but
But like
I think you could like make that jump though. That, like
That's
and,
kind of
like-
how I felt.
Like I said,
about
she's
it.
on a trajectory that is positive.
is-
for
Yeah.
her,
yeah.
you know?
I felt like at the end they ended up together, and that's what they both needed at the time.
Yeah.
Whether they stayed together or not, we'll never know. But
Good.
I think that's where they both needed to be. But yeah, I think overall, I mean, I guess I would have to give it like a 1.5 thumbs
Okay.
I'll give it a thumb.
because the first
thumb.
part just threw me off so much.
I'll
Yeah.
give it a thumb for competently made and very, very well done and all the things that make a movie good, but not a thumb because for me it just by
Didn't hit.
the time we were done, I hated everyone and thought that they I
Needed
didn't want bad
therapy.
things. They need therapy. And I thought they needed therapy. And I thought and it was in some ways like just the things in it were a little too real for me. So
Okay.
1 thumb for Toby for my personal enjoyment.
It's 2
2
for me,
thumbs.
so it's just 4.5.
4.5.
4.5.
I like that you've started taking the math one for me.
I'll do it. I will take
Because
the math.
man, those first few episodes where I was doing the math, it was
Counting the thumbs.
it was
Oh, he
pretty
ended up
bad.
with 12 thumbs. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess we can start counting big toes if we need like a more nuanced system for thumbs.
But, yeah, I guess that's something wild.
Yeah, I think so.
This is good.
Yeah.
Fun. It was a good
I think
discussion.
it was such a good movie for it was like a thought-provoking movie in its
Yes.
own sense.
Yeah.
So that is something wild, and then we'll just turn our generator on and get a movie for next time around.
Swear to God, if it's not one of mine, I'm gonna throw something. It's
Well,
been.
I'm gonna let you.
It's
pick.
been 2 months.
There you go. You pick one of yours.
I don't know if I can do that.
Actually, before that, wasn't it like 2 or 3 months of me?
Yeah.
It was a bit of
Or
you.
2 or 3 episodes, yeah.
Oh my God! All right, here. This one is, I think, probably also mine. We're watching The Witch.
Okay.
I'm so
anime?
excited. No.
No.
Woo!
No,
I'm
it's-
excited.
It's a horror movie.
Oh, okay.
It's about a witch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a New England.
I know what you're
folk tale.
talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Robert
Ooh.
Eggers' first
Robert
movie.
Okay. I
Eggers.
can do that.
Yeah. The Witch.
I don't know who
Actually,
Robert Eggers is.
Just
but-
watched this in October, I think.
Yay.
Oh, okay.
The Witch.
Again.
It's I like. Yeah, I watch it whenever possible. Like,
I think you'll probably dig it. It's slow. It's a slow burn.
but God.
I
But
don't
it made it
mind a slow burn if it's done correctly,
the payoff
and
is
it
visceral
should be a
and
slow
Yeah.
burn.
good.
There's
And
some movies that need to be a slow burn.
this should
Yeah.
this should just make you paranoid from start to
Yeah.
finish.
I mean,
It's
it feels like
so
it transports you to whatever year this is
Okay.
in New England.
Mhm.
Like
It's so good.
Oh,
Really
is it
good.
like a history piece?
It is.
It's about
It's about witches.
Witches.
It's about witches, and witches are real, dude. Like, it's good.
Okay.
Solid.
I
Like, no, I mean, like,
I know,
you know,
I know.
like that's
It was a
that's the
thing.
vibe.
Is this a kind of recent movie?
It's 2015, so this is its
Okay.
10th anniversary.
That's new to me.
It's Robert Eggers. He directed it. It was his first feature film.
hmm
He made the new Nosferatu,
Mhm.
Okay. I haven't seen
Uh,
that yet.
He made The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, The Northman.
Northman.
You haven't seen any of his movies,
No,
um,
not sounding like it.
but he's he's definitely like you could say, oh, that's a Robert Eggers movie.
Oh, okay.
Whether I like them or not, it's like that's a
He's
Robert
got
Eggers
a
movie.
feel, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to Nosferatu yet. I've enjoyed pretty
You'll-
much everything else a reasonable
You'll probably
amount.
like it. I didn't like it,
Yeah.
but I like the lighthouse. I like the Lighthouse and the Witch, especially.
Okay.
I like those a lot.
Well,
He does better
I'm
when it's
excited.
like very contained.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
he's really good at creating the feeling of isolation,
Yeah.
which the Lighthouse is great, and it's
Yeah.
good in The Witch too. We won't get to talk too much about, it, but
Yeah.
I think you're gonna like The Witch.
Yeah.
We
Like,
shall see.
And-
Not like it. Just I think you'll vibe with it.
Okay.
And
Well, hopefully you're right.
that is available on DVD and Blu-ray at the library. For those
Okay.
interested.
We already have it.
We already have it.
Already
yes.
have it.
Sweet. So join us next time as we discuss The Witch. But until then, I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
I'm Toby.
And this has been The Real Opposites.